Okay, I think we're good to go and running up, doing this live. Welcome, and here we go. Okay, hey, look, guys, we are at, it's a Wednesday, and so that means a new video for you. I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today, I had in mind maybe dealing with one of the dream passages, but I actually want to take it and do something a little different. So today's topic is going to be something that if you saw on our Facebook page, we have we posted a picture of something that's coming, something that's going on for next week. And so here's what I want you to see. We're going to be talking about you really taking the next step, going beyond Sunday. And so I really want to be thinking about what you do right now, where you're at. One of the things that we've been saying since this all started, the whole COVID thing, there's been a lot of talk about what happens after. What is that going to look like when the dust settles? And so for a lot of people, there's a couple things that are going to need to take place. The first thing that's going to need to take place is really just getting back in the habit. I know for some of us, it's gotten easy to just be at home. It's gotten easy to kind of to be resting and to enjoy that weekend. And we have forgotten the enjoyment of being together. And so one of the big things that we need to first talk about is just kind of getting back to normal, getting back plugged in. I know for some, it's going to take time for you to kind of get on your whatever your plan is for how to return. I know for some that there's still health concerns, but I know that there's another set that are really just struggling with getting back in. One of the blessings of everything has been to kind of reclaim our time and to reclaim, what we want to do and the pace that we want to run with. But one of the detriments to that has been that even church has been one of those things that's been, because we haven't been open fully, those things have kind of fallen by the wayside. And so our habits have changed. And so what I want to talk about today is really being able to take another step. Obviously, we are commanded to be together. We see that in Scripture, that we are to not forsake the assembly together. And I think that has two dimensions to it. I think that has the first dimension of, obviously, gathering for worship. That there is something to be said about being at the body that you can't get when service is more like Netflix. That's not gathering. But there's another dimension to that, and that's the smaller level piece of being together. One of the things that we talk about here at Royal Palms is our strategy. At Royal Palms, we have said that our strategy should be first worship together. So we have a little circle. The reason I'm doing this on the circle we say worship. The second thing we say is get involved with a growth group. Now I want to show you something. I want to go to this passage here, and I'll pull it up for you guys to see. And it comes from Romans chapter 12. So let's go here together and let's look at this. I want you to look at the words here that Paul writes. He says, "Let love be without hypocrisy. Detest evil, cling to what is good. Love one another deeply as brothers and sisters. Take the lead in honoring one another." Now I want to stop with that and think about this for just a sec, right? How can you live out those verses if you're not in Christian community? Right? Because this is for the church. We're going to, as he says, right, love one another deeply as brothers and sisters. Take the lead in honoring one another. I'll say this too, that should push the Christian to understand that this doesn't take place. This loving deeply as brother does not take place and is not accomplished when I just remain even on Sunday. I think these are verses that are compelling the Christian to go beyond Sunday. I'm not going to get the full conversation. I'll just tell you, as pastor, after church on Sunday is a very difficult time. There are some people who that I'm trying to connect with who are new, just trying to figure out who they are. There's others that I need to connect with because of something that happened in the week. And then there's others who just, it's good to connect with, but that 15, 20 minutes prior to or right at the end of service, after it's over, that's a really limited amount of time, and we can't fulfill these verses in that time frame. Notice what else he says. Don't lack diligence in zeal. He's saying, like, don't be don't be negligent to go out there and to encourage each other. And what that word diligence for in zeal is out of that relationship, that willingness to be together. So don't be negligent in doing that. Some of us, whether you're a people person or not, sometimes we let that play into our connecting. And I think for all of us, that should be a wake-up call too, that whether I feel it or not, God's called me to love each other and to not to lack that diligence together, and to be fervent in the Spirit. Notice this verse too, that verb that we put it in here. If you were to look at what it is behind the text, Paul will say that's to be enthusiastic, right? That we should be, growing and be really excited about what's going on. And then it says, and serve the Lord. I think within there's a connection piece, right? Where beyond my connecting with the body is I should try to not only get together on Sunday, but I should go further. And eventually, I also want to see myself serving too. So there's a piece of where I need to be poured into. I need the Word of God in me and surrounding me. I get that in worship. But I also, when I get into a small group, we call them growth groups. I'm growing in my knowledge of God, but I'm growing in relationships with others. That's where we can start to fulfill this. And then he says, serve the Lord. I love what else he says, just to give you a couple more things. He says, rejoice in hope. Be patient in affliction. Be persistent in prayer. Share with the saints in their needs. Pursue hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. We've talked about that prior. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud. Instead, associate with the humble. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Give careful thought to what is honorable in everyone's eyes. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Now think about this. None of this can really be done, guys, without a community. I want to ask what your community is. A lot of us have lots of different communities, a lot of different groups that we belong to, whether it's a sports club or whether it's just a group of friends or whatever. But I want to ask is, do you have a church community? Because when the apostle's writing, this is who he's writing to. He's writing to believers who are bound together. And when you read these verses too, look at that. These are not necessarily people who I'm bound to because we have the affinity, the same things and likes. No, I mean, we're talking to stretch me, right? To stretch me to honor one another and to love each other deeply. Not just people that I love deeply because you're a lot like me, but to stretch me to love everybody. To be diligent, as he says, in zeal, and to not lack that, to be ready, to encourage, to be excited about that, to pursue that relationship, to serve, and then all those other pieces that come with it. So I think that's something that we need to be thinking about. I want to ask you what your game plan is. As you look at what's happening in the rest of the year for you. Like I said, I know that for many of you, there's a process that's involved. What's your process to begin to fulfill those things God's called us to? We've not been called to sit on the sidelines. The church was never meant to be a Netflix model. We've been called to gather. And so, like I said, you may be working through some of those things, and God's intention is for us to gather. But maybe you're back in on Sunday, but when are you going to take the next step? And maybe you're at the church, and I hope this isn't the case, but maybe you feel lonely. Maybe you don't feel like you've got community. And really, that's the place where we need to be. The place at the church should be that you have community here. And so I want to show you something that we are launching. If you've seen it on Facebook, I already referenced it. This is what we're talking about. is we're asking people now to get involved with the growth group. We're asking people to choose one. So if you look, we're trying our best to offer groups that you can be involved with throughout the week. So there's Sunday opportunities there. There's Monday opportunities, and in this opportunity right here too, if you're man or woman, any adult, whatever, if you're 18 and up, there's something for everyone every night. And so I just want you to notice. So for instance, there's something, if you're an adult, you're welcome on Sunday. If you're on Monday, we have one that's all adults are open to. We have a group for women that meets every other Monday. We have some women's groups that meet on Tuesday, both in the morning and the evening. We have a online adult growth group. We have a hybrid one that'll be starting next Wednesday that will be online and in person for any adult of any age. And then we have one that's specifically geared towards parents and where there's opportunities to disciple the children in the evenings as well while parents are together. And then we are going to be offering one on a Thursday, which is in the works as well still. But I want you to notice that's a schedule for you. And we're doing our best to open up opportunities. If you join one of these growth groups, I do guarantee that if you commit to one and you pick one and go with it, you will grow in your knowledge of God. You will grow in relationships with others. And we need that. We're not called to just be filled, but we're called to then use that and to begin to fulfill what we just saw in those verses in Romans. And so if you're not a member of Royal Palms and you may be connected to another church, I would say take that next step and get involved with something. Maybe they offer small groups or a Sunday school. Get involved with them and make it a point to then connect with others. If you don't have a home church, come with us. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you connect with us, whether through Zoom or to get connected in person with us as well. But we'd love to see you. We want you to be able to start to fulfill those next steps of being able to live out the Christian life in Christian community. And so, guys, my prayer is that this fall we take a next step. We go beyond Sunday and we begin to now grow closer to each other. And it might be right now that all you can do is a Zoom group and just be at the online piece. Come on in. There's something, even just seeing the face is a big deal, but jump in. Let us know. You can comment here on the video. You can write us if you see an office at rpbc.church. We'd love to hear from you. But go beyond Sunday. Begin to live that Christian life amongst the believers. Let God stretch you to love others as brothers and sisters, even though you may not feel like it. And maybe you're not the most loving person, and maybe God's got to work on you to stretch you to do it. But all of us, if we look back at those verses, have tons of work that we could be doing and being shaped to look more like Jesus as we live it out. All right, I hope you like that. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We're going to probably work on one of the dreams, and so look for that next video then. Take care. Bye-bye.